All right, so here's a real personal moment that I want to share. A few days ago, I had some life-changing news at my eye appointment. Yep, bifocals and monovision contacts. At first, I was a bit confused. How can my eyes do two different things? One prescription was for distance, one for reading. It was a lot to process, but after getting the details, taking the steps, I'm adjusting. And I want to share this with you. If anyone out there has gone through something similar, whether if it's bifocals, contacts, or just adapting to a new prescription, drop your thoughts below. I love to hear your experience. Now, when the doc explained the two prescriptions, I have to be honest, I was confused. And some of you know that my work history included, in my earlier years in life, being a lab manager for lens crafters. One prescription for distance, another for reading. How are my eyes supposed to handle both? The whole idea seemed complicated. I wasn't sure if I could adjust. But when I had a conversation with an associate, and he shared with me that he had some similar struggles adjusting, more so emotionally, with the thought of having to, now wear bifocals. And we talked about it, and he said, you know what, Chris? Well, let me backtrack a little bit. I shared with him that I was thinking about, creating a video and having a discussion with others about my experience. And he said, Chris, that's a good idea. He said, because, when I went through the experience, he had no one to go to, about it. And he had to kind of cope through it, by himself. So that's why I'm doing this video today. He said things like, that will be helpful information. And then I thought, you know what? You're right. If you're facing this too, you're definitely not alone. I felt like I was stuck in the middle. My eyes doing one thing for far distance and another one for close. It seemed like a challenge, but I knew it was all about adapting. Let's talk bifocals first. That change was obvious. But once I started wearing them, I realized that it wasn't as bad as I thought. The top part for distance, the bottom part for reading, and I have what's called the no-line progressive, so you really can't tell from the outside, someone facing you looking, that you're actually wearing bifocals. It came to a point where it was almost second nature. Now, the contacts, the monovision contacts specifically, that was an interesting one. I felt like my eyes were doing double duty. One for distance, one for reading, but surprisingly, I adjusted better than I expected. That was that moment where I thought, wait, my eyes are doing what? But now I can't imagine going back. If you're in the same boat, think about how your eyes can handle two different tasks. Trust me, it's not impossible as it sounds. It's about patience and letting your eyes adapt. Have any of you been through the bifocal or contact lens transition? Was it smooth or a struggle for you? It's one of those things that seem minor at first, but becomes part of your daily routine. And we all go through similar moments in life, whether if it's eye care or adapting to something bigger. Anyone got tips or on how to make the adjustment easier? I'm still learning. I love to hear how it worked for you. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that this whole thing is lessons in growth. Sometimes we have to adjust to things that seem uncomfortable at first, but once we do, we're stronger and better for it. It's the same thing with anything else: business, personal development, or even challenges that seem tough at first. The more we adjust, the more we grow. This eye adjustment was a small reminder for me that change is not only inevitable, it can actually be empowering. Change might be uncomfortable, but it's the kind of discomfort that leads to greater vision in more ways than one. So that's my contact and bifocal journey so far. If you're adjusting to something new in your life, whether if it's eye care or any big transition, just know you're not alone. Adjust at your own pace. Feel free to message me with your stories or tips on how you're handling transitions in your life. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for hanging with me today. And remember, sometimes the best way to see the bigger picture is to make a few adjustments along the way. I'll catch you next time.